Alrighty. Well, welcome everyone to She Defined Summit, and I have a special guest for you today. Today's guest is someone whose life beautifully weaves courage, curiosity, and deep compassion. I am so excited to introduce you to Maria Olsen. Welcome, Maria. She is a woman who has lived many chapters. Listen carefully. She is an attorney, an author, a speaker, podcaster, mentor. But at the heart of it all, she's someone who believes life doesn't end at midlife. It expands, and she's proof of it. Maria is a best-selling author of 50 After 50, Reframing the Next Chapter of Your Life, which is what drew me to her. She's a host of a podcast called Becoming Your Best Version, and a TED Talk speaker. One's already published and one is about to be published. Is that correct, Maria?
Yes.
Wonderful. So, but what I love most about Maria is that her work doesn't come from theory. It comes from lived experience, deep reflection, and a willingness to ask brave questions about identity, healing, and what's possible next. So, Maria, before we talk about your books and the work, I'd love to start here. And this is what I thought, let's find out. Can you take us back to a moment in your life that quietly changed the way you saw yourself or your future, especially as you entered midlife? What was that like?
Well, in my 50th year, I got sober from alcoholism. I got divorced. I became an empty nester, and I was living alone for the first time in my life. So I had to really change just about everything about my life at that time. And in recovery communities, they often say, that you need to stay away from the people, places, or things that were triggers to you when you were drinking. So I really overhauled my whole life at 50.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Those are big steps, and it happened all at once. So sort of like it's a little painful, so let's just go for it.
Okay, yeah.
Let's just take it all in. So what did that season ask of you emotionally? That season of all these changes, and were they simultaneous, or did one happen right after the other?
Well, they happened in quick succession,
Mm-hmm.
but all during my 50th year. So
Wow.
yeah, they came all at me at once, and what it asked of me was to find some inner reserves and to use my resources well, and to ask for help because I don't think that I think courage in some cases is asking for help, knowing that we're not islands, we can't get forward all the time by ourselves.
And isn't that exactly where we are before the change happens? Is we're trying to do it on our own, and it's not working.
Yes, yes.
And you're right. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of humbleness as well. Um, that that's awesome. So let's go into the 50 after 50. What you wrote 50 after 50 after you did the 50. So
Yeah.
so take us on that journey. That's awesome and so encouraging for all of us.
Well, birthdays are a big thing for me. I've had my share of really big parties for my birthday, but when I turned 50, I was going through all these changes and I just wanted to hide. And many people were asking me, "What are you going to do for your 50th?" And I just didn't feel like doing anything. But a friend suggested, why don't you try 50 new things? And I loved that idea because I was really rudderless at the beginning of the year and not knowing what I was going to do. I had taken 15 years off from practicing law, for instance, and I went
Wow.
back to full-time work as a lawyer. and was worried that I didn't know how to do it anymore, which was not the case. So, I started writing lists, keeping a list on my phone of all the things I want to try in this lifetime. And I would add to it and subtract from it. And I started doing the things. And so when people asked me, "What are you doing for your 50th birthday?" I said I was trying 50 new things. And I didn't intend to write a book about it, but so many people asked me for my list that I realized I had struck a nerve and that my experience could be helpful to others. So I got an agent, got a book contract, and wrote about each experience and what it taught me. And that book went on to become an Amazon bestseller. It led to many speaking engagements, including a TEDx talk called Turning Life's Challenges into a Force for Good, which is essentially a summary of my book, 50 After 50. So each of the things that I did taught me something about myself and who I wanted to be in my next chapter. And not all of the things are things I will ever repeat again. But some of them I've kept in my life, like lifestyle changes, incorporating meditation into my life, surrounding myself with supportive people, and avoiding energy vampires as much as I can.
Oh, would you mind expounding on energy vampires? It's an
Yeah.
important thing for people to know.
Yes, I mean, sometimes energy vampires to me are people who just deplete you and don't add anything to your life. And we all have people like that in our lives. And if they're in your family, it's harder to avoid, but you can limit your time with people who drain you. And that's an appropriate boundary. And I think that many of us in our generation were raised with a sense of obligation towards family members that has dissipated with other generations after us, where people are more willing to choose their family among their closest friends and associates. And so the filial, paternal notions that we grew up with aren't as strong in this generation, and that has positive and negative effects.
Yeah.
But I allow myself now to limit my time and to live my life with more intention, including who I want to spend my time with, because there's something called a negativity bias, and
Hmm.
we generally take on the characteristics of the five people with whom we spend the most time. So if you're around big drinkers, you're likely to drink more. If you're around vegetarians, you probably will eat less meat. If you're around people who are super active, you probably will incorporate more activity into your life. So I am very careful about how I spend my time. And as a recovering people pleaser, I realized that saying yes to so many things was in many instances saying no to myself. So now it's easier for me to say no. And frequently I'll say I have another commitment. And rarely will anyone ask me what that commitment is. And that commitment can simply be to restoring my energy reserves. It doesn't have to be something concrete. We
Right.
all need downtime. And I think that we're learning the real risks of not practicing self-care and allowing yourself to decompress and to constantly being on the go can have serious negative effects on one's mental and physical health.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, so much of what you have just spoken is silently things that women in the in transition, or midlife, second half, however you want to call it, do not think about, because they're so programmed to be who they've been, even though they're unhappy. But
Hmm.
they're always for someone else. And I so appreciate what you were talking about, self-care and being intentional about being around certain people. Not that you're judging, you're choosing.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yes,
making that choice for yourself because the better you are, the better the people around you are. And
exactly.
it's awesome. So I do just a little bit going back a little bit. So what surprised you most once women started responding to your book? What was one of the what surprised you most about what they were saying?
I think I was surprised at the level of emotion I encountered on my book tour. How many people came to me in tears saying, "You told my story," or "You've given me hope," or "You've given me new ideas for how to get unstuck." And part of my story includes, for instance, childhood sexual abuse. And
Oh wow.
rarely will people speak about that in public, but I can now. And so I do. And 1 in 4 American women will have been sexually assaulted or abused in their lifetime, and 1 in 6 men, though very few talk about it. So the more I talk about it, the more it gives other people permission to be more vocal or to seek help or to just stop letting the secrets keep them sick, as
Yes.
it did for me. So I use my platform to talk about things that other people might be too scared or ashamed to talk about. And it just surprises me how many people there are out there who haven't told a soul about what happened to them and how heavy that is to carry alone. So that surprised me the most when I uh, started speaking about my 50 things.
And that is so awesome. I'm sure you're familiar with Brene Brown, where she says, "Your vulnerability gives me strength," and your vulnerability has given it. I'm sure has given many strength, both female and male. Now, when a woman comes to you feeling that way, what do you want her to understand first?
I want her to understand that she's not alone, that I thought I was so alone in this, and that there are many resources available, and I'll often share resources one-on-one with people and help them learn how to use the resources. And I think one of the most gratifying experiences I had as a parent was when my adult daughter, sent one of her friends to me who had actually been raped, and she said, "My mom can help you." And that just it broke my heart, but it also made my heart grow, knowing that my daughter trusted me with her friend. So. I know that what I'm doing, even though it was hard for me, is helping a lot of people. And that is my goal, to make this world a better place because I was here.
And you already have, no doubt, and you've experienced that yourself. um, the I think it's wonderful that your daughter made that suggestion, and so you would talk to this person, or anyone like her. um, how do you move that without overwhelming them?
Yeah. Well, it's really important to listen and to let that person talk. And if they're unwilling to talk, then I'll share something more about my story and what helped me. And but you need to create a safe space first. So many times the person just wants your presence, just to be there with them and let their story unfold slowly. So some people want to be told what to do. I can do that. Or some people want to come to the realization of what they need by themselves. So they just want to hear more about my story. It's very individual.
And and you understanding the direction to go comes from you listening.
Yes.
Exactly. This is such a powerful story. I'm so happy we have this time together so I
Oh,
can
thank
learn even
you.
more. And so, in getting ready for your TED Talk, the initial one,
Hmm.
um, were there any personal challenges that became a turning point for you, or one that sharpened the way that you now live and lead?
I think really getting sober because I am an advocate of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And those 12 steps for me became a guide to being a good human. I think they should be taught in every school in the world. It's in a nutshell, it's about believing in something bigger than yourself,
Yes.
looking at your own character defects and trying to get rid of them, and paying it forward. Uh,
Yes.
so those three things aren't really taught. I think our society relies on parents to teach those, largely through example, I think, or maybe church. But I think kids could benefit, every person could benefit from more concrete examples and a framework for how to be a good human, how to make amends when you're wrong, how to take your own inventory each day of how you've behaved and what you could do better, instead of just this sort of amorphous behave kind of mentality that at least I was raised with. So I think that was a big turning point for me. And while I think in some ways I followed a lot of the 12 steps without knowing it, I think having it set forth in a concrete way like that
Oh, yes.
would have benefited me more and actually did benefit me uh, 13 years ago when I got sober. So there, that was a real turning point for me. And I think without using chemicals to dull my senses, the whole world became more
Mhm.
vibrant to me. And I noticed more and I remembered more. And I did fewer things that caused me to feel shame. So that I would say was the biggest turning point.
That is amazing, and congratulations on 13 years. That is not easy task.
Thank
I
you.
am I'm really proud of you. I'm very familiar with that world myself. And one of the things that has I become aware of, and I'd like to know your opinion on this or how you feel about it, is that being unaware, whether you're unaware because you're not sober or you're just not you're unaware, is is really damaging. And so when one becomes aware, the whole world becomes a light where you're aware of everything around you, not from a fear standpoint, but from a great being in gratitude
Hmm.
of awareness.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so that was one thing that I went, that's an interesting thing there. So I'm very curious, if you don't mind talking about it, is your work with, and I believe it's a book coming out, or is it just the TED Talk about the DNA?
Oh, there's a book, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so it's not yet out. Is
No.
that okay? Okay, so what role do curiosity and self honesty play when a woman is reinventing herself in midlife with the environment of this DNA thing going on? Because your DNA, if I understand, your DNA opened some doors. Your DNA testing, I mean, not your DNA, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
um, yes, I'm just going to let you go from there.
Okay. Well, at age 53, I was speaking at a mixed race conference, and 23andMe was the corporate sponsor. I never would have bought a DNA test. So they gifted all the speakers DNA tests. So I
Oh,
took the test, and it revealed to me that the father who raised me is not my biological father, that I'm the product of a one night stand my mom had right before marrying my father. Not only that, but I was raised by a Filipino mother, and the Philippines is the most Catholic country on the planet, and an Irish English Catholic dad. So I was raised Catholic all the way through Jesuit college,
oh,
raised my
wow.
kids Catholic, and I found out through the DNA test that I'm half Ashkenazi Jew. So, yeah, if any of your listeners have ever met a Jewish Filipino by genetics, please let me know because I'm still trying to find one. That was a huge earth shift for me. So I confronted my mother, and she said it was a 50-50 chance that I was my dad's, but she didn't want to talk about it anymore. So I said, well, I'm going to find this biological father, whether you help me or not. It took me a year to find him, and it turns out that he was an actor I've watched in multiple movies and TV shows, and an ex-NFL football player for my team, the Washington then
Oh,
Redskins.
really? Oh
So
my goodness.
all of these things happened, and it was earth-shattering to me. My dad who raised me was dead at the time, and his sister said he didn't know. But it made puzzle pieces of my life come together because I didn't resemble my birth certificate father at all. And I actually do look a lot like my biological father. So
Wow.
I found him, and we had about 8 years together. He lives in California and I live on the East Coast. So we saw each other about once a year for 8 years and talked frequently on the phone and forged a really beautiful relationship. So I feel lucky about that because most people with the misattributed parentage discovery experience a lot of heartache, that it's not a welcome discovery. But
Mm.
my biological father had no other children and was really happy to have me in his life. In fact, I represented him in a lawsuit and won him a big judgment. So it was great. I mean, it worked out really well for me. I'm still, I don't feel Jewish. I think Judaism is more than a
Is he a
religion.
practicing Jew?
No,
Okay.
he's secular Jew, but I don't feel like I could ever really feel Jewish because Catholicism is so embedded in me, and
Yeah.
also because Judaism is a cultural thing as much as it is a religion in some ways. So I have explored Judaism. I've gone to Israel. I've gone to synagogues to learn more, read a lot about it, gone to services with my friends, but it really rocked my world. So I wrote a book about it, and as a lawyer, in my book, I talk about legal implications
Oh wow.
of finding out about your DNA, genetic relatives being something else than you thought. It implies things for criminal investigations, for inheritance law, child support, many different things that people don't think about. And the DNA testing companies market their products as fun gifts to give for
Exactly.
holidays, but they downplay how it has absolutely torn families apart. So my book will be published by Bloomsbury in 2026, and my TEDx talk was delivered in live in October, but the TED organization has chosen it as an editor's pick, so they're going to be rolling it out in the near future, but they haven't given me a date yet to when it
Okay.
will be
Well, we'll look
available.
forward to that. This is fascinating. Absolutely
Thanks.
fascinating because you're right. 23andMe, it, you're right. It just be fun to see where you're from and what you know, what your genes are and what who you're connected to. And I haven't even thought of anything beyond that, but you're absolutely right. It has torn a lot of people apart.
Yes.
Just the DNA testing sort of thing. That's absolutely fascinating. So where do you go from here? Because you've also got you informed me that now I still thought you were in your 50s, but you said you have 60 after 60. So
Yes, I
let's
did.
can you
I
talk
did.
about that?
Yeah, sure. I did 60 new things in my 60th year
Oh
also.
my goodness.
And I'll probably do 70 in my 70th year because it's such a great way to motivate myself. But I've already written that manuscript, and after my DNA book is after I do that book tour, then I'll submit the 60 after
Okay.
60, which I've subtitled Finding Serenity in Your 60s, because I do feel more at ease than I ever have in my life. I feel that that is one of the gifts of aging that we start to realize what's really important.
Yes.
We realize more viscerally that we have lived more of our lives than we have ahead of us, that we need to let go of the things that don't really matter. We need to express our love to those that we care about because all of us at this point have lost dear people in our lives, and we know that any day could be our last. So 60 has been really good to me so far.
That is great, and you're so profound in your speaking. And I guess my next question was, what do you wish more women knew about aging well? And I went, well, it doesn't matter. She already answered
Well,
it.
I think this is really a current throughout all of my work is that no one is responsible for your happiness but yourself. I
Exactly.
used to think that a white knight would save me. I also thought that outside affirmations were a barometer of my self-worth. I no longer believe these things, and I take positive steps each day to give myself the greatest chance of experiencing joy in those
That's
next
beautiful.
24 hours.
That's beautiful. Well put. And so for the women listening, um, and they're thinking, I want more of this. I want to keep exploring my next chapter. What would you love to offer them as a next step? I know that we've talked about a little gift. So would you like to tell them what you have for them?
Sure. Well, first I would say use the notes function on your phone and start writing down all the things you want to do before your time is up. And then start categorizing them with what you can do based on time and cost and start doing them. Don't wait. Just start doing them. They can be small things too. Some of the work or some of the new things I did were inside jobs, just attitudinal changes. Then, for my gift to those who are involved in this summit is for everyone who signs up for my mailing list during the summit, I have a raffle and I will choose a winner of the raffle to receive my book, 50 After 50, Reframing the Next Chapter of Your Life. And I will inscribe it to whomever you want and send it to any U.S. address. So please sign up for the mailing list. I don't send a lot of emails. I only send out emails for big things, but it's a really great gift for you or for anyone who wants to uplevel their lives. And in the back of my book, there are lists of other people of 50 things they decided to do in their for their big birthday years. And I think I have one for someone who turned 60 also in that book. But
Oh, that's
I have
wonderful.
Facebook and Instagram accounts, 50 After 50, that people share ideas of things that they want to do. Or any of you, please reach out to me at on my website, Maria at marialeonardolsen.com. That's my email,
I think
or my
that's your email.
website
Yeah.
is marialeonardolsen.com, which has a contact me page. And I'm happy to brainstorm with you on ideas because I do travel a lot. And one of my goals is to reach 100 countries by age 65. I'm
Beautiful.
at 74 countries right now.
Oh, great. Since you're 50.
No, in my lifetime.
Oh, in your lifetime. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm really good at coming up with ideas, but in 50 After 50, one of my things that I did was walking more, like even walking to the next town over. And in doing that, I discovered beautiful gardens I'd never noticed before,
Oh,
whizzing by, and met people I never would have met had I been in a car. So I can help you. Just
that's
reach out.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Maria. And if I'm not mistaken, and I hope it's not a big problem, I think some of the audience will be from Canada, but we can figure that out. You know, should they be one of the draws?
Yeah, I could send them maybe an ebook copy or
Yeah,
something.
well, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah.
But they do have to sign up, and you have a link for that, and
Yeah.
um, we'll provide it right below here. So thank you for reminding us that this isn't the closing door; it's just the beginning. and there's so much potential. But your wisdom that you shared in other aspects just was wonderful. I've been joyfully and absolutely excitedly surprised
Thank you.
because it's just been a pleasure to have this interview with you. And I
Thank you so
know
much.
that all the audience will just love it. Will just love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Louise.